Hi, everybody. I'm Dave,
And I'm John.
and this is Coffee and Capes, our podcast about two of our favorite things, drinking coffee and talking about geek culture.
Yeah, we haven't done it for a while.
We haven't. We've had a coffee. We've had coffee. We've talked about geek
Yes.
culture. We just haven't done it as a podcast. It's back
Mm-hmm.
to the old days, like
Yeah.
when we would just do those things in person without actually recording them. So, true believers, thanks for hanging out and being with us. We've missed you. Sorry that we've been not posting for the entire month of November. Yikes.
Was
But
it the entire month of November?
it really was. Yeah, because our
Wow,
last
that's
episode
crazy.
was the end of December, end of October,
Yeah, now we're in December.
and it's now December. So sorry, month of November.
Eh,
Life got in the way, folks. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, these things happen. It's all
Yep.
right.
So thanks for coming back to us. However you found us, if you found us on YouTube, hi.
Hey, guys.
If you found us on one of the podcasting channels, that's awesome.
Mhm.
We like to give you a rundown of all the ways that you can connect with us, and I like to let John do that.
Yep. So, guys, you can definitely watch us on YouTube. We have our the video recordings up there. So you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, all of the podcast listening channels that make your little heart aflutter. We are on social media. We have a TikTok that we post to periodically. We have an Instagram, which is coffee underscore the letter N and underscore the word capes. We have Facebook. We're on Twitter, kind of. And then we have our website, right, where you can buy coffee and you can get comics in any form that's available. And that is coffee, the letter N, the word capes.com. Or if that's too confusing for you, you can type comics.coffee in your URL and that'll take you to us as well.
That's my
And
favorite, just to do.
yeah, it makes it super easy.
Yeah.
And then email, right? You can send us an email, supers@coffeeandcapes.com.
We're old, so we read our emails.
We do read our emails, and we've gotten some great emails from people. And guys, please drop us like little 5-star rating in whatever podcast area that you listen to us at. Those reviews actually do help us reach more people. And by golly, we like talking to more people.
We want to reach more people. I know it's annoying. Every single podcast you listen to says that, but every single podcast you listen to says that because it's true.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah,
Nope.
drop us a line.
The world is run by algorithm, and we need your help to be more reachable, findable. Yeah. It's annoying and it kind of stinks, but it's also part of the deal.
It is part of the deal. And interact with us on social, on Instagram.
That's what we
and those
really
kind
like. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really like we enjoy interacting with people on social media. And man, we've had a lot of like people say some really nice things about our super boxes, about the coffee and comics that they've ordered through us. Oh, I do want to say we had our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale like everybody else in the retail consumer universe.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, it was crazy. We had tons of orders come in. We are still trying to get caught up with all those orders. So we apologize. Please be a little patient. We've switched up some fulfillment stuff and storage stuff in the month of November. That had a big part of to do with like why we weren't on here as much.
Right.
So if you don't get your stuff quite as fast, we apologize. It's just we're trying to get caught up with all the orders. And
And we'll be honest, the company's basically the two of us.
yeah, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Like we have other people that are
We do.
partners with us. Our
We do.
wives are partners with
Yes.
us. Andrew, who is great, he's a partner with us, but they're very inactive partners. So basically, like order fulfillment and comic selection and everything else, that's Dave and I.
Yeah.
So, thanks for your patience.
Yes.
We
So much
are
so.
small but mighty mouse.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Without the most part.
What else?
Well, speaking of some of those interactions, we have a little thing we like to do here called fan fiction, where we read some of your responses to what we've done.
Yeah. I'm reading this one and I realize I put it into a sometimes we take our reviews and we put them into social posts, and I just realized there's a typo in this one because, I was typing faster than my brain was thinking. Anyway, this is from Jerry. Jerry is a repeat customer. Like he orders all the time. He ordered stuff for a gift for
So
someone, I
great.
think, which is cool. We think it's the best thing you can do is give people coffee and comics.
Yeah.
So feel free. We also have gift cards at the website, but everybody says that, and I'm not here to pitch that to you. But Jerry had some really kind words. He said he was beyond blown away with my Spooktober box. Great books and delicious coffee. First time customer turned repeat customer. Thank you, Coffee and Capes. And he was not joking. Like, I don't know how many orders we filled for Jerry, but we have filled quite a few.
Yes.
And we love it. Like, we love our repeat customer. We love every customer. Like, we're
Of
grateful
course.
for
Yeah.
every single customer and every single
Absolutely.
purchase, because it also enables us to give back to the community. And we donate to Battle Brothers, which is a veteran-based organization, Feeding America, which we all know, right, needs some help. And then also the Heroes Initiative, which helps artists and writers from comic books,
Yeah.
right,
Comic
with,
book creators that need some
yeah,
help. And Feeding
when they
America,
need
if you
help.
don't know, is a program that provides provides meals for folks uh that are experiencing hunger.
Yeah. So it gives us that ability. So yeah, like, we're really grateful for every purchase.
So
And
much
when
so.
you guys say nice things, man, that's
We
freaking
love that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes our day.
Yeah, especially because sometimes we're sitting here and we're like, are we doing the right thing? Do people like this stuff? I hope so. Like, we don't get a ton of orders. I mean, we get enough orders that it backs us up as two individuals with normal jobs as well. Um,
Yeah.
the normal jobs feed the family. This is
Right.
not
This
doing
is
that right now.
not yet, but it's a labor of love for sure.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So if there's anybody out there that wants an internship for coffee and comics, um, literally, I mean that we will pay you in coffee and comics for your internship.
Right.
We have a number of things we could use some help with.
Absolutely.
So just so you know. All right.
As of yet, we are not credited to offer you college credit or anything for your internship, but we'd be
No, but
happy
we'll
to.
sign whatever document you
Yes,
have from
absolutely.
school. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like, whether they give you credit for it or not is
Yeah.
up to them. And then one last thing that we like to talk about is our coffee.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
So
of some of our products, we like to highlight a coffee each
Yeah, so this
episode.
one is newer. It's Ivy's Elixir. It's one of our flavored coffees, and it is stout Irish cream with sweet caramel, non-alcoholic Irish cream, guys. Sorry, but
Or not,
absolutely
sorry.
delicious, and it has quickly become a top seller. We have added multiple flavored coffees to the profile because it turns out people love those things. Um, so check them out. We just added a brand new one, the Cowabunga roast.
Bunga.
Cowabunga roast to go with our first shop exclusive,
What?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 #1 with a cover by Sweeney Boo. It is absolutely beautiful.
Ah,
See what I there?
thank you very much.
Yeah,
Try to be
we
able
got
to be
dad
here all
jokes
week.
for days.
We do have dad jokes for days.
Days. But it really is. It's a fantastic cover. It's a lot of fun.
It
Really
really is.
excited. Really excited. It's available now to pre-order on the website. And it is discounted now until, I believe, Christmas Eve. And then it goes to full price.
Just for those that perhaps might not be so clued in to all the jargon, what does that mean to have a shop exclusive, John?
It means you can't buy it anywhere else except here. Literally, like, no other comic store, nobody else is gonna have it. So you can get it here. We have a number of other shop exclusives coming. Very excited about those as well. We'll talk more about those at a different time.
Yeah.
Oh, and I almost forgot. People, you can find us on Whatnot. again. We have been doing some Whatnot stuff lately. I think our next Whatnot show is going to be Star Wars themed with a bunch of
Ooh,
like, yeah, a bunch of like the Dark Horse Star Wars stuff, which is pretty
like the
fantastic.
original. Yeah, some old
Yeah,
school
yeah,
Star Wars
right.
stuff.
Some old school Star Wars stuff. And really those things, like we're gonna do some Instagram live stuff,
Yeah.
but that's really a chance for Dave and I to interact with everybody kind of in person-ish. Although we are trying to get a booth at a couple upcoming conventions.
You're gonna see Coffee and Cape so many places, you're gonna be like, wait a minute,
Could be
I know
like,
those guys.
right, you're gonna walk by and look up and see like our annoyingly colored like booth and then our faces and go, oh yeah, these are the over caffeinated comic book guys.
Right.
Like they
Oh,
just
and then you're gonna
babble
look at
for the
us and be like,
first 20
oh,
minutes of
that's
their
why they
podcast.
do. Yes. You're gonna look at us and be like, oh, that's why they do an audio only medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
No, just
All
kidding.
right.
Yeah, I had something I was gonna say a second ago, and now I completely lost it because I'm old.
That's all right. I guess moving on to the topic du jour.
Yeah, guys, it's been a while. So, oh, I know what I was gonna say. Can I confess something to all of you good people?
Sure.
I have not watched a minute of Andor yet. So that's my goal for the month of December. I know, right? I know. I'm
Dude,
so ashamed.
so good,
Right?
actually.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to confession later, or I'm doing confession now. I'll assign myself some penance.
I don't think you
And
got to go that far. I think you
yeah.
just, watch the thing.
Well, that was gonna be my assigned penance is to watch the thing.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's really a penance though. Like, because
Well,
you're getting to do something you wanted to do anyway.
see, that's the secret. That's a professional secret right there.
Right. Um,
So
it's such a good show.
before we do that Star Wars themed whatnot, that's my goal is to watch that show.
Oh, you're not gonna get through that before we do that Whatnot show.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It's all right. It's okay.
It's good to have goals, I guess.
We got goals. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got goals. All right.
It's been
Dave.
so long, guys, that since we've done one, that we've got two huge movies to talk about.
Yeah, and I thought we would do this in like a almost like taking sides.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna talk about why I thought Black Adam was more enjoyable to watch than Black Panther.
Ew. All right. Gauntlet thrown.
Now, it's important to say though, I enjoyed Black Panther. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that it needed to be almost 3 hours long. Seems excessive.
See, I don't understand people that complain about the length of movie. But whatever. That's fine.
At least bring back intermissions.
Right. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I remember
If it's going to
that.
be like 2 hours
Yeah.
and 45 minutes long,
Like here's a 5-minute
give me a
intermission.
designated pee break
Yeah, right.
in the middle, right?
Right.
So if I'm
Yes.
like, I already drank my whole soda. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Is this the safe spot? Like provide the safe spot.
Right. There is a
Right.
website that does that, I can't think what it's called, but it's something that's like pee breaks for movies. Like here's the safe time to go. But still an
Oh,
actually
that's interesting.
designated
Yeah, but have
intermission
it designated
would be a
like
great idea.
years and years ago. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're a Quentin Tarantino fan. I am a big Quentin Tarantino fan. I think he's a phenomenal filmmaker. He he was just recently on a podcast that I listened to, Two Bears, One Cave, and they were interviewing him. And one of the things that he like that it just triggered in me that I remembered was going to see, he did a grindhouse movie setup where he directed one movie and Robert Rodriguez still directed another movie. Each movie was like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And they played together
Yeah.
back to back, but you had a 15-minute intermission in between, like you did way back in the day.
Right.
And it was awesome because you sat there for an hour and a half, you watched the movie, like intermission came in, everybody got up, went to the bathroom, got pizza, like refilled their drink, did whatever, came back, and you were comfortable and happy to sit through the next hour and a half. Whereas like a 2 hour and 45 minute, like straight through shot, like Black Panther, right? Wakanda Forever, do you have to get up and pee at some point? The older
Especially at
you
our
get,
age. Especially
yeah,
at our
right.
age.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say,
Yeah.
the older you get.
Now, my question would be, I don't remember you having that complaint about the 3 hour and whatever 12-minute Avengers Endgame.
So, but Avengers Endgame capped off like a thing, right? It
For
capped
sure. Yes.
like that
Yes.
was the climax of a whole long phase. Um Wakanda Forever. And so you had so many characters and so much going on and so many different storylines to get through to get it to a point where, oh, okay, now I understand how we're getting back here to having Thanos and the Black
Yep.
Order and everything else brought back. And you have to have all of that to be able to get to the climax of that movie, right? And to set up subsequent phases with the additional characters that had been killed. You had to do it. 2 hours and 45 minutes though for like this. There were, and I want to make it really clear, like I loved the tributes that they paid to Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, classy move, Marvel. Classy move, Ryan Coogler on doing that, and they were so well done. They didn't feel like shoehorned in. There was emotional attachment to them, right?
For sure. Yeah.
But then there was other stuff you're like, did we need this? What could we have shortened this up? Could it have, I don't know. It was long. Anyway.
Yeah.
Dave.
That was a long digression.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks, but that's kind of what we do. You're probably used to that from us by now.
Yellowstone back on, by the way, season 5 of Yellowstone. I don't know if anybody's been watching it, but all hail Kevin Costner. All right, we're done.
Thank you for that.
Someday he's gonna listen to us.
So if you're taking the stance that Black Panther's, what was it, more enjoyable?
Yes.
Okay.
You enjoyed Black Panther more than Black Adam.
I did.
I found Black Adam to be more enjoyable than Black Panther.
Okay. All right. So
I don't know that that's necessarily true on your end.
Which one of us is Skip Bayless and which one of us is Shannon Sharp?
I don't want to be Shannon Sharp.
I don't want to be Skip Bayless. Like I said, anyway, sorry. That was a weird reference, and it doesn't matter if you don't understand.
I'm gonna be Charles Barkley.
Okay, that's better. Don't be Skip
Black
Bayless.
Panther wasn't
One of
terrible.
those is enough in the world.
It wasn't terrible.
No, it was not terrible.
It wasn't terrible. Go ahead, Dave.
So what do we do now? We're professionals, folks.
Yeah. So I just like went on a tirade about the length of the movie.
Yeah.
But what was it about Black Panther that you enjoyed so much?
Well, clearly as you said, the beginning was just as much a tribute to Chadwick Boseman as to the character. I mean, it seamlessly served as a memorial for both.
Right.
And I think, man, what this movie had to do, like we've had movies in the past where, the characters died, but especially in the comic book and geek culture world, there's always an end around that you can bring them back. Right. Even at the end of Avengers Infinity War, when the snap happened, we knew all of those people were coming back.
Right.
Or we assumed that they all were.
Right. Yeah.
It was emotional, but there was this, you could kind of keep that at bay because in the back of the mind, you're like, yeah, okay, but.
I disagree. You cannot keep Peter Parker hugging Tony Stark at bay emotionally.
Well, okay. You're right.
Yeah. That anyway, continue on.
Yeah.
That's that one moment in that movie. Like everybody in the theater is like,
yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. But you know what I mean? But there's it's not full on, oh my gosh, these guys are gone forever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. This is what the actor died, not the
Right.
character.
Yeah. Very different.
Tragically. And well, I mean, yes, tragically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this I've read interviews with Ryan Coogler where they've said it was too soon to just replace him with another actor. Like we could not have done that. And I think that would have been disastrous if they had tried.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that, Chadwick would have wanted Black Panther recast, right? And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't
Who
know. But
knows?
he
Yeah.
also was very vocal towards the end about giving Letitia, right?
Yeah.
Her time to shine as Shuri.
Yeah.
Right. He was very supportive of that and made that very clear. So yeah, I agree with you. I think recasting him at this stage of the game would have been very disingenuous.
Yeah. For sure.
And I it would have not played well, right? It would have been one of those things that I think audiences would have just, once they saw it, would have been like,
yeah, it just doesn't sit right.
Too soon.
Yeah. So this is a deep cut, and like 4 people at most are gonna connect with it. But years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there was a TV show, Spartacus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the actor that played Spartacus, similar thing, died of cancer.
Yeah, died of cancer.
And they recast him right away.
Mm-hmm.
And as good as the new guy was,
he was great.
But it was just not as good. Like there was something about that. And this is a much, much, much bigger property.
Right. Yeah, I remember that with Spartacus as well. And I remember watching it with the original actor.
Yeah.
And then they stopped making it, right?
Yeah.
For like a hot minute because he got so sick and so weak, he couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
And you're right. They recast that role basically immediately.
Yes.
And it didn't, nothing against the guy they recast. He did a great job. And Spartacus continued on for a number of seasons successfully.
2 more seasons, yeah. And it was an entertaining show and I liked it, but it just didn't, something was missing.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. And it felt like they just rushed the mourning period for that actor. And I think that would have been how this would have felt had they tried to recast it.
And when they did like flashbacks, they had the new actor, they kind of recast the scene with the new actor in the flashback, and it doesn't, like you said, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's a deep cut, and it's not apples to apples here in this comparison, because obviously Black Panther was a $1 billion movie,
right?
And not just a niche TV show on Stars like 10 years ago. Like it's very different.
Yeah.
But still, like I think the emotion of it translates. Like, so I'm glad they didn't do that. So that meant they had to do what they did. You have to somehow acknowledge that this character / person is dead. And the opening and the closing of the movies, I thought, as you said, just absolutely nailed that. Just nailed that. My initial reaction after seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever the first time was, this is the most adult movie Marvel has ever done. And what I mean by that is not XXX rated, but like it's the most mature. Like it's it took that idea of grief and how we respond to deep grief ran through the entire thing. And maybe that makes it a little less fun for some folks. And we've talked before about how grief seems to be a motivator for a whole lot of different superheroes.
Well, yeah, it's the Joseph Campbell, hero's journey, and that's, well documented. Every character. I mean, even, in Black Adam.
Sure. Yes. Right.
They're motivated by grief.
Yeah.
But in a very similar, not different, actually pretty similar, like reactions to that grief, right?
Right. Anger, for some,
Rage,
rage,
like,
disconnect for others,
mhm.
like mourning. Like I just thought, I don't know, I just really liked how they handled that. And I loved seeing more of the stories of Shuri and Ramonda and even and the a little bit of M'Baku there, who was
I thought he stole like every scene he was in,
for
honestly.
sure. Yeah. And Nakia, man, one of my big complaints is that they did not give Nakia enough to do.
Mm-mm.
Like Lupita Nyong'o, if I'm saying that correctly, is fantastic, man. She just
She
captures.
was jacked too.
Yes, she was.
Can we
Dude,
just talk about like
so was Angela Bassett. Oh my god, that
Angela
scene.
Bassett's always been jacked, man.
Yeah, but
But
still,
yeah, no, I get you.
like you're right.
Her
Yeah.
death surprised me.
Yes, me too. Yes, I didn't I didn't like that. I didn't want her to. It seemed almost piling on there at that point.
Yeah. Um,
It seemed a little unnecessary. But I
so
don't know. I just think it's, and we haven't even talked about Namor.
yeah.
Namor. I I'm sure there are some comic book purists out there that are like, oh, they changed the story and how dare you, and shouting at clouds. And that's fine. If you didn't like that part, that's that's your reaction. Your reaction's your reaction. I liked it because it gave him a reason to exist as opposed to just being this person that, oh, surprise, we've been living under the ocean forever. And oh, by the way, we have the exact same name Atlantis as the DC property, and I'm basically the exact same person as Aquaman. And it gave him some distinction. Um, I'll admit I don't totally understand why he's been alive for 600 years or whatever, but
In the comics, he was though too. Like he's been around forever in the comics.
sure.
He was often considered, until they discovered Apocalypse, he was considered to be the first mutant
Okay.
for a long time. For a long
Yeah.
time in the comics, he was considered the first mutant, and then Apocalypse, you know, uh, came out, and Oscar Isaac. Oh, sorry, we're going the wrong way with that one. Apocalypse in the comics is, revealed to actually be the first mutant, but Namor, because
Yeah.
Namor's so old
Yeah.
in the comics, as part of the Invaders, like
Right. Yeah.
way
That part.
back when, and
Right.
all
Right.
that jazz. So
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I just really think I thought it was really, really well done. Um, Obviously, like any movie, there's some things that didn't work and the stuff that I wish was a little different, but it felt like even though the Namor story was so very different from what we're used to in the comics, it was a similar, or his background was, it was a similar story, the interaction between his world and Wakanda.
yeah, that was pretty on point.
Yeah.
That was pretty on point. And I actually thought, I can't remember the actor's name now. What was the actor's name who played Namor? Do you
Oh,
remember?
he's new. I don't know if I know how to pronounce it. It's like
Yeah,
Huerta.
he's only been in a couple things that I recognize. But while you look that up, one of the things, and I said this when we went and saw it right afterwards, was one of the things I really liked about that movie was the way that he portrayed Namor,
Mm-hmm.
because Namor always considered himself to be above,
Yes.
right?
Right.
He was above everybody. He was, strong and regal and condescending,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
righteous, like
Yes.
very, very righteous, um, in everything. And there are, I mean, really, it's interesting because if you take a look at Black Adam and you take a look at Namor, their personalities
Are
are
pretty similar.
are extremely similar.
Yeah.
Extremely, extremely similar.
I might have the pronunciation wrong. I probably have the pronunciation wrong
Probably,
here,
yeah.
but
It's,
Tenoch Huerta
yeah. So he
is
did
the
a
name of
great
the
job.
actor that
I thought
played
you
Namor.
did a great job.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
one of my things has been recently, like the vast and drastic changes that the Marvel MCU has made with regards to characters and where they come from and what their power sets look like and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I had an interesting thought, and it kind of hit me was, which helped me not to get wrapped up in the massive shift that they made with Namor and everybody else, was that, we got introduced to the multiverse theory,
Yes.
right? And in a multiverse, anything goes,
Right. Yeah.
right? Those things can be changed and be retconned very differently and present very differently and create and shape a very different universe. And we have no idea what universe this is.
It's not 616
It is not 616. So everything that we have grown accustomed to, like growing up with
in the
comics,
Yeah.
right? You just kind of toss out the window and give them carte blanche to do what they're going to do, right? My big
Yes.
complaint about Miss Marvel was her gem power thingy,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I let that very much take me out of that show and make it less enjoyable. And I still hold umbrage with the way that they massively altered her power. But again, right, they can create whatever universe they want now, and it's, if I'm going to enjoy these things, like truly enjoy them, like you just realize like this is just a different universe, right? That
Yes.
they're building out
Yeah.
something kind of like with the Ultimates universe when that was introduced. So
Yeah.
many things were different and so many storylines changed and origins changed and characters changed. And some people had a really hard time with that universe because everything was vastly different. Well, if you knew that they were different universes, it made each one even, I think, more enjoyable, because you could read about the Fantastic Four in the Ultimate Universe and then the Fantastic Four in the 616 universe,
Mm-hmm.
and so much different, right?
Right.
And really
Yeah.
enjoy the fact that like Reed Richards went psycho pants in the Ultimate universe and became the Maker,
Yeah.
right? And it was cool to see those things. So I was okay with the change they made. The thing that I struggled with, and I kind of understand, they're traveling down into the depths of the ocean where it is dark,
Yeah.
right? But come on, guys. Like, give us a little more than what you did. It made that whole experience of seeing uh Namor's like city under the water.
Talokan.
Yeah, thank you. Uh Made it a little too dark and like fuzzy for me.
Okay. Just visually, you
Yeah,
wanted it to be a little more engaging.
I would have liked
Yeah.
it to just, yeah, a little bit more engaging, just even a little brighter so you could
Sure.
see a little better, and maybe everybody doesn't look quite as fuzzy as they did. I don't need it to be Aquaman,
Yeah.
right? Because that's like Las Vegas in the middle of the ocean, super bright lights
That's
everywhere,
that's a good comp. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
But somewhere in the
Yeah.
middle would have been nice,
Yeah.
right? I feel like we had Las Vegas, underwater city, and then we had Gotham, underwater city.
And we needed something in between. We
And we
needed
needed
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we needed Metropolis, like
Yeah.
right in the middle. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
thought the sun thing was kind of interesting,
Yeah.
right? The underwater sun thing. I don't know that I fully comprehended that. So
Yeah.
it kind
Somehow
of was like a
vibranium
lost
somehow
moment for
becomes,
me.
yeah. Yeah. Somehow vibranium. I, I think it was, my interpretation is it was intended to demonstrate just how much Namor and and his people had to lose if the world begins to search the ocean for vibranium and finds them.
Right.
And I thought that
Uh,
part was believable. That part of it landed. The motivation
yeah,
part landed.
for sure. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I like
but I
Shuri.
don't think that was an issue.
Okay.
I think for me, like, I honestly feel like this could have been either, you could have taken pieces out and made it shorter, right? Or you could have expanded even more and made it two
Two
movies.
movies. Yeah. and it kind of found a in between. But I can understand that. I can understand
Yeah,
feeling that way.
because it 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like after a while, there are certain scenes like wholeheartedly that I was like, we could have done without this.
I did like the interaction between Namor and Shuri.
Hmm.
And that scene where like she's in Talokan and like they understand each other.
Yeah,
And in some ways,
they
like
do.
the understanding of each other adds kind of a tragic element to their battle then, like the
Yeah,
inevitability of their battle.
yeah,
Because they like and they well, maybe they don't like, but they at least respect and understand each other.
sure. Um,
And
yeah.
Shuri's journey to like deal with the grief of losing her brother and eventually like finding her way to being Black Panther, like kind of through the science, and then acknowledging her rage. Like I thought visually when she rounds that corner and oh gosh, we totally forgot our standard coffee
Yeah,
and tapes.
yeah.
Spoiler alert here. She rounds the corner and it's Killmonger that she sees,
Hmm.
and how she had talked about wanting to burn the entire world.
Hmm.
And what's the visual behind them as they're talking? It's flames
Hmm.
running up the side of the walls. Like that she's connecting with that part. I just thought like that little visual moment connects with the story and with and with the character. I just all those kind of little touches just landed for me, I guess.
So yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I still like I enjoyed it enough, right? And as as an emotional kind of movie, right?
Yeah.
It had some really strong moments in it.
Yes.
100%. But I'm talking about which one did I have more fun watching.
Sure. Okay. Fair. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me, right? I had, and it's not a perfect movie by any stretch, and I'll admit that because there are a couple things I have issue with. But I thought, one, as a comic book guy, there were some things in Black Adam that were just dead on the money, like 100%.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when Rachel and I went and saw that, one of the things that she said afterwards was that she actually thought was annoying, but she's not a comic book person either, was that he never walked anywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
His feet never
Just
touched the ground.
yeah.
And what I told her was that's because in the comics, he doesn't feel like it's beneath him to
To
touch
walk.
his feet to the ground and walk.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
is that guy. He just looks down on everybody. And this is where he and Namor like share a
Sure.
lot of
Sure.
similarities, right? Is
Yes.
he looks down on everyone,
Yeah.
right? His people, like he's there to protect his people. That's his job. That's his mission is to
Yes.
protect them. Um, but he does not see himself as one of them. He is their protector. He is imbued with the power of the gods. Like he is
Right.
therefore himself a god. Um, and you know, whether or not you are a fan of The Rock, right?
How can you not be a
Um,
fan of The Rock? Who's
I
not a
don't
fan of
know.
The
There are
Rock?
those weirdos out there.
Come
They're not a
on.
fan of The Rock.
Okay.
But no matter what you think, man, I thought he did such a good job of embodying the persona from the comic books of Black Adam.
For
What
sure.
I
Like that picture you have behind you. Like that look right there. That's
Yeah,
that's the Black
100%.
Adam
That's
look.
that
Yeah.
intense,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
I am better than you.
Right.
I will destroy you. And I thought, for a movie that there was debate on whether or not it was going to be R
Yeah.
and it landed as PG-13,
Yeah.
they did a really good job of not going into like the graphic violence of seeing the people die that he killed, but not shy away from the fact
That he's killing people.
that he's killing people. Like
Right.
when he
Yeah.
chucked that guy
Yeah.
in the air,
Yeah.
and he's working with the JSA, and the JSA, like, Hawkman's like, hey, you got to keep that guy alive so that we can talk to him. And you see him flying through the air, and he lands, and
Like,
he's
I
like,
don't think it's gonna make it.
I don't think he's gonna make it. First of all, one of my big fears going into this movie was we were gonna get jokey,
Right.
ha
Yeah, we
ha,
talked about that. The
the
usual
Rock,
rock character.
right? The usual Rock character from like Jumanji or
Yeah.
whatever other, like,
Right.
movies that he's made for Disney lately. And that was my big fear, was like, oh man, are we gonna get the family friendly, like,
Yeah.
version of Black Adam? And I don't think we got that. I think we got like moments where his lack of understanding of the era that he's in and the people that he's around and how people are acting in that day and age made for funny moments.
Yes. And
This
he had some funny reactions, but he did them without being jokey.
Right. He did them
And he
without
never
being jokey.
broke. Like, I don't know if he ever smiled in the entire movie.
No. I did not see him smile until the end credit scene.
Oh yeah.
And he had that little smirk when
Yeah.
you know who showed up.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought, and so I want to clarify really quick my beef with the movie that I knew was going to be a beef. So I just kind of walked in, and I'll be honest, like, I walked into Black Adam with much lower expectations,
Yeah.
and than I did walking into Wakanda Forever.
Which maybe that's part of our quote
Possibly.
problem, that, when you go in with neutral or low expectations, Black Adam surprises you
Yeah.
with how fun and good it is. And when you expect the world of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it's hard for it to live up to that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we ran into that with Thor: Love and Thunder, but I'm going to
For
be honest.
sure. Yeah.
I went back and watched Thor and Love and Thunder. Like, put it on in the background while I was doing some
Yeah.
work, and was watching it and hanging out. And man, that is such a campy movie.
It is.
Like, the first half of that movie is so campy. It is hard to get into, and it really takes you out of the second half of the movie when the emotional impact of, like, Jane and everything takes hold. Chris Helmsworth recently said, like, if they do another one, it has to be a completely different tone than Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. So I would like to see that. Anyway.
So would I. But I thought I heard he said apparently he's got some kind of health thing and he's not doing
Yeah,
it
he's got
anymore.
some kind of health thing, but he is contracted, I think, for another Thor movie.
Okay.
So anyway, but in Black Adam, like, I went in with lower expectation because there were a couple things I knew was going to happen. One, my assumption was The Rock was not going to have an accent.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And two, he probably wasn't going to know how to speak a foreign language. And he spoke a foreign language for a heartbeat. And I got excited. And then immediately upon his resurrection, he did not have an accent anymore, and he spoke a foreign language for about 20 seconds.
Yeah, I get it. I guess that's one of those things where for me it's like just suspend disbelief and it doesn't bug me. Like,
Yeah, I think for me though, I would have liked to have, like, I'm okay with everybody speaking English because the movie is
it's
made for an
right.
English
That's
speaking
the thing. Like,
audience.
you're in a country that's not English speaking, but everybody's speaking English.
Right.
So
And
right
you
away,
gotta,
that's sort of a weird
yeah, and you
setup.
gotta kind of be like, okay, right. But, but, but at least hire an acting coach to teach you how to speak with an accent that is regionally, like, accurate. They've been waiting 15 years to make the movie. He spent a lot of that time getting even more jacked, if
Yeah.
that's
Possible, right? We
right?
thought it was.
But that's my
Yeah.
lone, like, actual beef with the movie. No, that I take that back.
That's
That's my
not the
lone
only
actual
one.
beef with, like, The Rock.
Yeah.
The other beef that I had was Cyclone. I just thought that, like, as visually cool as, like, her stuff was,
Yeah.
I felt that she was kind of lost. a little bit in everything.
Yeah.
Like she
Like
didn't.
Nakia, they didn't give her enough to do. And there's
Yeah,
there's an interesting character there. We just didn't get to meet her.
exactly. Now, however, Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate. He was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't like the way his story ended. Like it just felt like it just a completely unnecessary, oh, we're just gonna the plot requires it, so we're just gonna have him sacrifice himself. Like it just
However, to your point, is he really dead? From
well,
like your point
true.
from like
Yeah.
Endgame,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
is he actually dead or is he gonna come back?
Yeah.
Because Dr. Fate has that history,
Sure.
right? Hawkman was
Awesome.
awesome.
He was
So good.
fantastic. Yes. Yeah,
The
yeah.
actor that played Hawkman has been in a ton of stuff too.
Aldous Hodge, is that right?
Aldous Hodge, yes. And he did so good as Hawkman.
You're right. And again, there's a history, a comic book history of a particular attitude from
Mm-hmm.
Hawkman, who's
Yes,
also kind of that I'm better than you,
yes,
uh
100%.
I'm stronger than you,
He's
and
old, like he reincarnates and
yeah,
has his memory every time he reincarnates. That's like
yeah,
one of the big things, right? In
right,
the nth metal, and he has that same arrogance that Black Adam has,
yeah,
and that same quick temper that Black Adam
yes,
has. He doesn't really play nice with others. He always thinks he should be in charge,
yeah,
right? And Aldous Hodge played that perfectly. And watching, I was not sure how that would play watching like Black Adam fight those guys,
yeah,
but so good. Like so good. And the effect that also I thought Adam Smasher was great. I don't care what anybody says. I thought he was fun. And especially as a kid who like just kind of became Adam Smasher and he's
sure,
figuring it all out and
yeah,
he makes mistakes clearly, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
his heart's in the right place. And that's very much comic book accurate with Adam Smasher in the comics, who ends up kind of following Black Adam around.
hmm.
He becomes like a Black Adam disciple and
I
goes and helps him protect
I did not
Kanda.
know that. I'm not
Hmm.
familiar enough with those books.
Yeah.
Okay.
But really, like and you brought this up, and I thought it was amazing as well, was how Black Adam moved,
Oh, yeah,
right? Um, it was so cool to see something to see him move like super fast, but not always like, up vertical, like moving around like Superman does, but instead like that hovering moment and then
yeah, right, right,
right
right,
to the side.
yes. And I thought, I mean, it ended up being kind of ridiculous, but pretty funny that throughout Black Adam just never used a door. He just one of the ways that he
Not
demonstrated his
once.
superiority was by just going through every single wall.
And
And
I
finally
love the
somebody's
fact he
and then
got
they pay it
called out.
off, right? They finally pay it off. Oh, you didn't have doors back in the day? No,
He's
of
like,
course we did.
of course
How
we
would we get
did.
from one room to another?
Yeah. But he just keeps plowing through walls.
And then right after that, he plows through another wall.
Uh-huh. Because that's who he is. Like
Right,
all that
right,
stuff,
right.
he realizes he has all this power.
Yeah,
The rules don't apply to him.
yeah, yeah,
Plain and simple. And I really liked the way that they made his story so that it was this tragic moment of loss, right?
yeah.
That
Yes.
and he's like, I'm not a hero. I wasn't chosen to be the hero.
Yeah,
It's like I was given this power and it's a curse, and I am filled with rage and anger and loss, and like, and he not once was he like, I'm a hero,
right.
you know?
Yeah,
And I thought it was I loved this. And there were some interesting similarities, I feel, between like Black Panther and Black Adam. When you really look at them. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting was like the JSA shows up to take Black Adam from Kandak, who has risen from, his slumber and is like getting rid of the bad guys, like, that have shown up.
Yeah, getting rid
And
of the oppressing
yeah,
military force
right, the
that's
oppressing military force that
occupying the land.
right, that the world has ignored,
Yeah.
has
Yep.
chosen to ignore. And then the minute that they get a metahuman of their own, and they even said this, like,
Right. I really like that they said it.
right, they called it out to the
Yeah.
JSA. They said, we've been asking for your help with this problem forever, and nobody, not one hero, has shown up to help us. And the minute we have our own hero, you show up to try and take him away
Yeah.
and cause all of this destruction and
Yep.
all of this damage.
Yeah.
You did that, not
Right.
him.
And the JSA response to that, especially Hawkman's, was terrible in the sense that it was a bad answer.
Uh-huh.
And they acknowledged it. They said the movie said as much. That's a bad answer. Like,
Yeah.
stop.
Right.
Like, so I do really appreciate that part, especially that part of Black Adam, that the real world analogies there about how countries relate to one another and what it means, and some critique of especially of the US and how we use our military. And that's,
Right.
we don't have to have that conversation as part of this podcast, but I love it when movies do stuff like that, when they're willing to critique the world around them. I mean, to me, that's one of the best aspects of fantasy and sci-fi and geek culture, is that it can be a way to make statements about the world we actually live in
Mm-hmm.
by using a fantastical world that makes it a little more palatable.
Yeah. And Wakanda Forever does that too, right?
100%.
They
Yeah,
they
for sure.
absolutely do that as well. Right in the beginning, like showing up and saying, "Oh, you think we don't have the ability to take care of ourselves anymore because King T'Challa is gone."
Yeah.
And the US and France send in that special ops team to try and take some of the secrets from Wakanda, and they
Right.
get
Right.
picked up and paraded in front
Yep.
of the UN
Yep. Yep.
assembly. And
Yeah.
they're like, you did this. You sent these people here because you want what we have.
Yep. And you think
Not
we can't defend ourselves.
right.
Well,
And
think
you
again.
don't think we can defend ourselves well.
Yeah.
And
the moment late in the movie when Agent Ross is confronted by director blah blah blah.
Defontaine.
Yes, thank you. And he says, can you imagine what the US would do if it had access to that weaponry, that power? And she gets that, like, she everything but goes,
Right. And she's like, absolutely, I can.
Yeah, I've been dreaming about it.
I dream about it, and it makes me happy, essentially, is what it comes down to.
She's like, I can't wait for that moment. And
right.
That's pretty real to life too. So as much as the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character kind of annoyed me in that movie, that was a
well, and they're clearly, I mean, they're clearly putting her in like the Nick Fury position to pull together the Thunderbolts team and all that jazz. Like that's clear that is happening. So we'll see how that plays out. But that was one of those things, like, I thought in the movie could have been a post-credit scene.
Yeah, it didn't.
Like,
there could have
we
didn't need to cut away to Langley 3 times.
No, like, that was unnecessary. It was yeah. And if you're gonna do it, like, expand it out more and turn it in, like I said, into
Make it
2 movies,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think one of the big things for me lately with comics, even, and because we were just having this conversation the other day, like, I find myself drifting more and more into like the indie comic world. I have my staples that I absolutely love. Like, I can't read enough Harley Quinn. She is just like the best, right? And there's some other stuff. And when it comes to like superhero comics, even then, like, I think that Invincible is
top-notch.
just probably one of the best superhero comics out there anymore.
Sure.
But I think that there's I don't know. And like, when I think about the movies that have come out recently, they're trying to do one of two things. Either trying to be too funny, like you got with Thor: Love and Thunder, or we're trying to be way too serious. And I get it. Wakanda Forever had a pretty heavy like feel to it, I think, because
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman, right?
Right.
Which set the tone for the entire movie right out of the gate and
Right.
made it a little more serious. When I think about like, what am I looking for anymore in a Marvel or DC movie? Like, what am I really wanting out of that?
Yeah.
And I think back to phase one and what made phase one like just so incredible,
Well,
right?
part of it was new,
Sure,
right?
right?
Over and over again, I'm hearing on podcasts or reading on reviews, people are just burned out of all
Yes.
the superhero stuff. And I get it. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
this has been, we've talked about this a lot of times. Like, this has been our dream since we were little
Right.
boys reading comics that, oh
Yeah.
my God, what if there was a great movie with these characters? And now that's all we get almost. There's some other good stuff out there. So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
do
it's
understand the
limited.
saturation thing that people can be fed up with it. And there is a bit of a, I mean, these movies can be a little formulaic because there is sort of a
For sure.
trajectory that they kind of go
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. For sure.
Um, so I get that piece of it. But I could see where if you were going to, I don't know if you were going to, but if you were going to finish that your statement with that's why Black Adam was more enjoyable for you because it kind of hits that middle ground of
100%. Yeah.
it's still new and it's fun while also being enough of the comic accurate, if you will.
Yes. For me, that's what made Black Adam fun. When I think about like rewatchability,
Yeah.
I can go back today and rewatch Black Adam and it would still be fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's the right length to be able to sit through and
Sure.
watch
Yeah.
it and come away and be like, that was great. Like, I think that DC, despite all its flaws, might be in a better position than Marvel for the future of its cinematic universe. Because Marvel has such grand plans, right? And it's hard not to get excited for them because
Yeah.
we get the Kang Dynasty and everything else, but
Yeah.
they have such grand plans that to create an interconnected storyline in every individual character story, you need a lot of space.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's right.
I think that in some ways, I think that makes the Disney Plus shows for Marvel a better and more significant platform than cinematic movies right now.
I could see that because you have a little more time and space to do stuff in a TV series than
Right.
you do in a movie.
When you think about like She-Hulk was 8 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Moon Knight, 8 episodes. Each one's like 40
6,
minutes.
but yeah,
Was it 6? I
I
don't
think
know.
so. But
But we're gonna get
doesn't
a
matter.
second.
Yeah.
Like you could set up so much more in those TV episodes,
Right.
right? Than in a movie because
Yeah.
you have space, you have time. You could run it out to 10 episodes and nobody's gonna blink twice. We're
Yeah.
gonna be like, cool, there's a new episode because TV has that history,
Yeah.
right? We're getting Daredevil Born Again in
Cannot wait for
a
that.
TV series
Yeah.
and we're all cool with it. Like the
Yeah.
first Daredevil TV series was amazing. The Punisher TV series was amazing. Iron Fist was
Not amazing.
not
But
amazing.
Luke Cage was incredible.
Luke Cage was incredible, right? Jessica Jones was good. Like
Yeah.
there's a
I liked
great
the Defenders, but apparently I was the only one.
no, I like the Defenders
Okay.
too. I thought it was good.
Okay.
So you can see like they have the budget to be able to do it. You can still do some
Sure.
amazing things in these shows. And when you're doing the movies, right, for Marvel, like there's now high expectations on Marvel.
Yeah.
Every single Marvel movie that comes out is expected
Oh,
to
for
lay the
sure.
groundwork for the
Yes.
next one and to
Right.
pay homage to what's come before and
Right.
to
Right.
tease
Right.
what hasn't been yet.
Yep.
DC has screwed it up so bad.
So much.
So bad
Yeah.
that when we get something like Black Adam, you can introduce the JSA in the way that they did as basically the foil to Black Adam, more so than the villains.
Yeah.
And then at
Right.
the end kind of come together and they have like their little powwow of like high five, hey, we all did it. And Black Adam's still like, yeah, but I'm staying, you're leaving.
Right. Yeah. And
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't get to take me away again.
Right.
That is the one thing I think they could have done without. I think they could have absolutely 100% like removed the whole like him being taken in and put into the little
That
container.
piece was so dumb because you knew he was not going to last in there.
Right.
And
like, don't
it
do
was literally 30 seconds. Like the moment they left the water with him underneath the water, like 10 seconds later, oh gosh, we need to rescue him again and get him out. Like that part.
Yeah.
That
So
part annoyed me.
know,
yeah.
But you take that out, and overall, like it's definitely one of the better DC movies we've seen.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Right.
I liked it more than Shazam.
I liked Shazam too, though.
I know Shazam was good, but
Shazam was a family movie.
It was. This is
at the end of the day,
movie.
Shazam was a family movie, right?
That's true.
Which it should have been.
Right. Correct.
Right. And Shazam needed to be a family movie because DC had, Zack Snyder, who, while he's a great filmmaker and he's done some incredible stuff, like he made everything super hella dark.
Right. Yeah.
And we had Wonder Woman, which was a phenomenal movie, and then we had Wonder Woman 84, not so much.
So bad.
The first Aquaman, which again I think was a family film.
It was fun,
right?
Yeah,
and it was fun.
Yep.
And then we had some misses, and then all the chaos around what's happening with DC, and then we got the Suicide Squad, which I thought was awesome and
not
fun.
A family movie,
and not a family movie, right?
But so good, so entertaining,
so good. Thank you, James Gunn.
Yeah.
And then we got the Black Adam movie, and again, my expectation was, we'll see what it is, and I was entertained, and I was like, yeah,
are you not entertained?
Yeah, I would watch that again, and I would watch that again before I watched Wakanda Forever again, and I think it's because Wakanda Forever was so long and so heavy.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I think that's correct.
And it was heavy from beginning to end.
Yeah. With a couple of light moments, like what? You think because we live in the mountains, we don't have access to books?
Right. That was great. And I think that's why M'Baku really did steal a lot of the scenes he was in, because he was, man, his interaction with Shuri was so kind.
Right. Especially after Ramonda's death.
And so gentle.
Yes.
And I thought, man, that is so good. Like, what a different side of this character. And then he becomes king of Wakanda at the end.
Or is setting himself up to be.
No, they've said it in the media. Like he is essentially becoming the king of Wakanda.
Okay. But that moment, back to that moment between he and Shuri, that thing he said is something that's true of, as as others have written. What did he say? The world has taken too much from you.
Right.
For you to be considered a child.
Yes.
And that's a statement that's not just true of the Shuri character, but in a lot of ways of the, as it's been written and explained, of the Black experience in the United States of America. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's like that stuff is just so powerful. And to that point, like, it's now 2022 and we have a movie that's centered not one, not two, not three, but four, and in some ways 5 Black women. That's pretty damn cool. Like, we haven't even talked about Riri Williams. We didn't even get to talk about Riri Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams was phenomenal. They cast perfectly for Riri Williams. I'm excited for that series.
Yeah, the Ironheart series.
Yeah, I'm excited for that series. I'm actually excited that they took Armor Wars and are going to make Armor Wars a movie, because honestly, like, Rhodey and that character, like, I thought, he's been such a big part of the MCU up to this point, and that's a big story. Armor Wars is a big story. Like,
yeah,
really is. But with Black Adam, it's not going to make the money that Black Panther Wakanda Forever does. Like, it's just not.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Um, but I think it shows, right? It is possible to make entertaining DC movies, right?
Yes.
Um,
That are well done.
that are well
Enough.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
Like, the critics hated this movie for whatever reason, but
Yeah.
man, the audience loved it.
Yeah.
Audience scores are off the charts, and I
Right.
would agree with the audience scores. And you know what? The critics, yeah, whatever. Nobody
Again,
likes
I
you.
really think a lot of that is, at least the ones that I read or listen to, they're just so like professional critics who don't, especially don't have like the connection to the history of the stories and the books, which is understandable. Not everybody
Sure.
does. They're just so over superhero stories.
And that's understandable. I
Yeah.
mean, even we've talked about it. I mean, I even have like a little fatigue when it comes to superhero movies
Yeah.
um lately. And I love them. Like, I love these things. But I think we could have a little break. We could have some
I do think that's part
breathing
of it, that
room.
and you were asking like what made the difference in phase one for Marvel. Well, there was time between stuff. Now that's
Tons
like
of time.
you every 10 seconds it feels like there's a new property out that
Right.
you gotta consume. And so I do think that's a piece of it.
Now,
That's a little
before we
saturated.
wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to talk about the greatest part of the Black Adam movie, and that is the end and the credit scene.
Yes.
Oh man. First of all, I can't believe they haven't actually signed Henry Cavill back to play Superman.
Yeah, what are you doing, DC? Get on
Yeah,
that.
like, get on it. And the two of them on screen together, Superman and Black Adam, it's so good.
Crackled.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was so good. And that was the most Superman like Henry Cavill has looked yet.
for sure.
With the little curl coming down, and his hair was a little bit closer. And Henry Cavill's a big dude. Like,
Mhm.
he's big on his own.
Yes.
And we had a much bluer suit, and the bright red and yellow,
Right,
like,
right.
S was much more prominent. That was something I've been dying to see since
Yeah.
he came to the screen. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think Henry Cavill is a phenomenal Superman, in that they just need to give him like
The
the
right story, the right
yeah,
tone of story instead of the, oh, I'm so angry and I'm so blah 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 and
yeah, he's not
I'm gonna
Batman.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's
Stop giving
not.
him Batman's type
He's the
stories.
bright, like,
He's the
heart
bright
and
light. Yeah.
soul of,
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
the Justice League. When
Yeah.
everybody else, like, he's the one, like, when Batman's being pouty and Batman, he always shows up and he's like, Bruce, you could smile every now and then.
Right.
He's
Shut
like,
up, Clark.
right. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
My only complaint with that closing scene with the two of them was it, since when does Superman work with Amanda Waller?
He
What?
doesn't. I think Amanda Waller is just part of the US government, and like,
Okay.
she sent that message, and she's
Yeah.
like, I can call this guy and he'll, whatever. And she call and they've probably worked together on some level. But at the end, like, that was one of those, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Okay.
somebody's got to be able to call him and be like,
Sure. Okay.
hey, Superman, like,
Yeah.
go handle the thing.
Yeah.
And he lands, and he's like, it's been a long time since somebody's made everybody this nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Black Adam, we should talk. And like, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to see this. This is like Rocky and Apollo Creed
Mm.
squaring off at the end of Rocky 3 in like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ring together, right?
Right.
They've been friends, and they're just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And then they each throw the punch, and it
Yep.
ends.
Yep.
And you're
Yep.
like, who won that fight? Who won that fight? That was like what that moment was. I was like,
Hmm. Apollo Creed won that fight, by the way.
yeah, Apollo Creed did. Yeah, it was revealed later in actually in the Creed movie by Sylvester Stallone when he was talking to young Creed. That was a great moment.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about with Black Panther that I enjoyed was the Midnight Angels, the suits, and like and
Oh, yeah.
Okoye like hating the suit and that interaction between her and Shuri. But then we get the Midnight Angel suits. I mean, those were straight out of the books.
Yeah,
Like,
those were amazing.
That was really cool.
Absolutely amazing.
I like that part.
Yeah, they did great. So while, and to wrap up here, because I feel like we've
been talking for a long time, like almost an hour and a half.
To wrap up here, like, I don't dislike Wakanda Forever. I thought it was a beautiful movie. I really, really did.
Yeah.
But when we set out here, it was which was the more fun movie for me to watch.
Yeah.
And for me, the funner movie to watch was Black Adam. From the comic book nerd kid in me, it was just getting to see that. And despite its flaws, and it had them, right, they did a great job.
It was a good fun movie. I would give it, actually, I'd give both movies in our silly little 3-part scale of overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I'll give them both overwhelmed.
Yeah, so will I. Yeah, for sure.
And especially Black Adam overwhelmed compared to my expectations.
Oh yeah, hands down. Yeah.
But yeah, it probably was. I'm not going to argue with you that it's maybe a little more fun. I just think Black Panther was the better movie, and certainly it moved me more.
Yeah, and I just thought they were both great movies.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad they both exist. I'm glad they both that they both came out and that they're doing well. I think
so.
Doing well.
Yeah.
I don't really pay a ton of attention to that, but
yeah, I'm sure they're doing well. They always make buckets of cash.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're still with us, congratulations on enduring. I'm sure you're ready for a pee break. I know we are because we're old, but we did not have an intermission either.
We did not have an intermission. We should have had an intermission.
Yeah. Tell us what you thought. What did you think of the two movies, and where are you at on the whole trajectory of DC and Marvel? Like, I think Marvel continues to take really bold risks with this phase 27 or whatever we're in.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with James Gunn at the helm
of DC. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, this was a good step in the right direction, I thought.
It was indeed. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming back with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.